Hi everyone. So I've been getting a lot of questions on how I got 100 in my PPL written exam to this day. It has been quite some time, but I keep getting questions. Everyone asking, "Hey, what worked for me and what didn't?" So I decided to make a video about it. Basically, I have summarized the whole process into 4 main points, and I think that's what worked for me, and I think that's what would work generally for everyone. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first one, and I cannot stress this more enough, is understand the content. I have observed that many of my friends that were also working for that written exam tend to rely solely on memorizing the solutions to the problem, and that does work for you to pass. But what I did observe is it won't necessarily help you get 100 out of 100 in the exam. One reason is I had 3 problems in my written exams, basically exactly the same problem that I gave in the mock test, but the answer choices were totally different. So if you really didn't understand it, you were going to get that wrong if you had just memorized the solution. Second reason what I really emphasize understanding the content is it really helped me in my check write oral portion. To be honest, I didn't have so much of a time preparing on the check write oral portion, but basically most of my check write oral portion was case by case questions. So hey, if this is what's going on, if this is the situation, how would you do it? One such example was, hey, in this flight, how much of a luggage can I bring with it? So it basically tested my understanding of weight and balance, because within a weight and balance you can also change the location of your weight, and you would be surprised what kind of weight you can carry based on the location where you put those. So that's why I truly believe understanding the content is the main thing. So how do you go about understanding content, right? How would you go about learning this content? What I did to begin with was I would choose a specific topic, whatever I was very much interested at that time. So for example, how to read a sectional chart, and then watch a YouTube videos. And when I'm watching that YouTube videos, I'll also make a note. This approach really allowed me to really not focus on the whole written exam, but basically approach each subtopics. So and there were times where I just go, hey, how to read a meter, and then how to read a TAF, how to decode a PIREP, and so forth. And at that point I was not preparing for the return. I was just like randomly, even before deciding to seriously pursue a date for written, I was just learning this content. And there's a great resources out there, and most of them are free. So my second point would be use the free resource. If you have noticed until now, I have refrained from suggesting any purchase. As a matter of fact, I didn't purchase any books whatsoever. I did purchase a ASA prepware preparation guide, but I'll be getting to that shortly. This is because in fact, like, there's a lot of free resources out there, and then one of them, and I'm going to list based on what I have used, but I'm pretty sure there are more than out there. One of them is MIT has a private pilot ground school in YouTube, and there's also similar very excellent resource from Embry-Riddle. Second one is Check Write Prep. They used to have a free private pilot ground school. I also took their course for free. I know they are going through organizational change, so they might not be called Check Write Prep. I don't know what they will be called, but they are going to go through some of the organizational change, we speak. Another great resource, and I really enjoyed, was Fly 8 Mike Alpha. They also have their web page with a free ground school, and there is also M0 Alpha. I just like watching his videos. And then no matter what resource I'm using, either it be a YouTube video or whatever that I'm looking at, I would make sure I am keeping a note. So that's how I was able to build a long note that worked for me. And So this is how it progressed. So at the beginning I just curiously watched few YouTube videos and make notes as I go through them. Second, I started getting enrolled in those free ground lessons and trying to now incorporate all those random topics that I have read randomly into organized chapters, and that's how I was able to truly understand all the sections that were required to learn for the written exam. At this point, what I also decided to do was I also enrolled in a Part 141 school for my flight training portion. They also had the ground portion, so that's also going to there's also somehow helped me. But to be honest, at this point, what I did with that portion too, I basically signed up for ASA Private Pilot Test Prep 25. So I didn't buy their book. They have like only online version or another version where they will also send you the hard copy. I only subscribe to their online version. So what good thing I can say about them is I didn't do sporty. There's also sporty. I'm pretty sure everyone has heard about them. They are also well known. But with the private pilot test prep, what I did was they also have a soft book with all the topics that I mentioned, and they also have questions like 10 questions, 20 questions for each of those topics. So now this was a really great resource for me, because now it was bringing everything together in one place. And when I feel like, okay, I have finished this chapter, then I'll give all the quizzes in that topic. And at the end, before my final exam, around like 2 weeks before my final exam, then I'll give a random mock test. The Prepper allows you to do a random mock test, and they had like 600 questions all together. I just did basically all 600 questions, and at that point I was pretty confident that I would get 90. Another thing that I can also stress is no matter what you would, at least for me, what happened was no matter what resource you choose for giving mock tests, which I highly suggest, I had few questions that I've never seen before. So I feel like FAA also does make new questions once in a while. Don't be surprised, they might be there. Second would be in exam, it's not like you are only all topics are going to be covered in the same proportion. A lot of my questions were from cross country. I was surprised there were very little questions about aerodynamics and very little questions about weather. So the proportion is not that balanced. So you'll get that idea when you start to give a mock test. So also be prepared, there might be new questions that you have never seen before, and that's where understanding the concept really helps. Again, tying to that first point. Finally, I feel this is a great one, and maybe most of us don't think about it. Luckily, I was aware of this, so I did pay attention to this detail. So making sure you know what kind of resources that your exam center did. When I was reading or preparing for the written exam, I was using ASA CX3 calculator. I really recommend that. Of course, nothing here is sponsored, but I really use their calculator. They also have an online version, which helps doing all the calculation pretty straightforward. But then what I notice is some of the test center, they don't have the CX3 calculator for you to use. In my test center, they give you both calculator, CX3 and Sporty one. You could choose whichever. They give you a bunch of resources. They give you all the pencil. They also give you like a white transparent sheet of paper with a marker that you can write and erase. So some of the figures like viewer, you can just lay on top, or in some map you can lay on top and draw those. So I have read some of the situations in Facebook where students went to give the exam and they were surprised some of the calculator they had with them were not allowed and things like that, and at that instant you wouldn't want to be arguing with anyone. So make sure you talk to them in advance. Make sure you understand what kind of things are given to you during the exam or before the exam, and what you can bring and not bring. Even though FAA explicitly says that, I've noticed some of the places are a little bit different. So and I don't think it would hurt to give them a call. Like I said, one disclaimer I want to put out is I did take part in 141 and then ground school. That also helped me, but to be honest, I don't think it substantially changed anything. Basically, I would go in that ground lessons. At that point, I've already gone through all the content. It was just more like a mock-up or like a revision for me at that point. But best of luck to you all. Currently I'm also going from the instrument. I'm doing the same thing. I'm randomly learning how to read approach plate, how to read departure plates and so forth, using YouTube. I have not signed up with anything. I know learning will never end. This is I wish you all the best. This is an amazing field, at least for me, and I believe it's for you too. So believe in yourself. Good luck. Thank you.